This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Wednesday, the 17th day of April in the year 2024. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting, and here's what we're tracking tonight. The Stabroek Market Wharf, which has been in a dilapidated state for several years, collapsed this morning, injuring 5 persons. According to eyewitnesses, at around 10 o'clock this morning, persons who were operating small businesses on the condemned facility heard a crackling sound, and within minutes the entire facility collapsed, trapping a number of persons as others ran to safety. The Emergency Medical Services team, the Guyana Fire Service, the Guyana Police Force, and the Georgetown City Council were immediately notified, and the search and rescue operation was launched. Among those injured was Abdul Kamal, who said he is lucky to be alive.
I went to urinate over in the river, and then the thing started collapsing, and me couldn't call me. Before I could get out, I would just knock me in my head.
Kamal was provided with emergency care for the injuries he sustained and then released. The other persons were taken to the hospital. Minister within the Ministry of Public Works, Deodat Indar, was among the first set of officials on the ground assessing the situation. He said at the time of the incident there were persons vending and living on the condemned wharf.
There are some folks living in there. Apart from vending, there's some folks living in there. They said to us that initially there were 4 persons that got injured. One guy slipped his shoulder and some had minor injuries, and they've been given medical attention. But there's a 5th person emerged just now, and he had a little laceration behind his neck, and he gone to get medical treatment.
The minister said based on reports, some persons jumped into the Demerara River to escape from being injured. As such, he said the search and rescue operations continued, even as the government worked hand in hand with the City Council to clear the area of debris. Minister Indar was joined by Minister of Home Affairs Robeson Ben, Minister of Local Government Sonia Parag, and Georgetown Mayor Alfred Mentor, among other city officials. Minister Ben told reporters that the dilapidated wharf was an accident waiting to happen, while laying blame at the feet of the Georgetown City Council. A notice board erected on the dilapidated structure stated that the wharf has been condemned for occupation, and as such it is illegal to use the building. However, Ben said it is clear that enough was not done by the City Council to prevent the occupation of the structure.
We've asked that they pay attention to removing the rubble or the debris, the material that is out there, and isolating and making the site safe. The firefighters, the fireboat will be alongside. I hope the City Council will get a barge so that they could start removing the collapsed material. And going forward, we'll have to make sure, giving advice to them on consultation, what steps they will take to make sure that the area is safe.
The minister said he has since asked the Georgetown Mayor Alfred Mentor to ensure that the entire area is cordoned off to prevent further use, as the 2 sides work to clear the debris.
Obviously, there has been a lack of control as to the use of the site and paying attention to the deterioration of the structure. So the main structure has collapsed. You still have a couple roofs of it remaining on that side, which are also in deplorable condition, and which present clear and present danger to people who would go under it.
Georgetown Mayor Alfred Mentor said the council will be working closely with the government to respond to the incident, noting that though the municipality is responsible for the facility, it has national impact.
Even though the city has responsibility to deal with this issue, it also straddles the MARAD and the waterways and so on and so forth. So it's something that we'll be working collectively on to be able to treat with. We, as Minister Ben said, we did give notice to this particular, all the persons on this wharf to desist from being here. This is not something that we did in this current council, but in previous council, 2 or 3 councils before, to be able to treat with this. I think the previous government themselves suggested that they will be able to be looking at some kind of a boardwalk arrangement that should have already happened, but it's something that we have to treat with in general to be able to work and find solutions as a collective to be able to deal with this issue. This is not only a city council issue, this will also be a national issue, as we all know that we have to be able to find a hand and glove arrangement to be able to make this work. I've spoken to the engineer, our engineer on this, and I've spoken to the minister on this matter, and we'll be working from the river in to be able to figure out how we could be able to treat with this matter. And I think a barge will also be necessary as is indicated, and we'll be working to be able to find a solution and to be able to save lives and limbs.
The Georgetown mayor also maintained that the Georgetown City Council has repeatedly warned persons about using the dilapidated structure. More news coming up in just a moment.
It's one of your biggest goals, getting your own home, where memories are made, where happiness lives. You may feel that home ownership or renovation is beyond your reach, but we at Republic want you to know that there's always a way. Ask us about our suite of mortgages. Let's help make your housing wishes come true, or advise on how the equity in your existing home can finance other dreams and goals. Call or go online to learn more.
It's time for the official Linden Town Week Big People Party. This year, Big Man Do Skylark. Join Go Mosley Entertainment on Thursday the 2nd of May at the Mackenzie Bandstand for 5 big bands: Stitchy, Super Ray, Murphy, the Castro Brothers, and for the first time in Linden, the one-woman band Queen Makiba.
But when I see what I was getting, boy, I start to shiver, cause I know I'm unable with that. Get me, young boy.
Plus DJ Granny Ivy will be live. Party like never before. It's a one-man band and one-woman band fete for Linden Town Week. Thursday the 2nd of May at the Mackenzie Bandstand. Big Man Tour Skylark. Compliments of GTT, Sheriff Security, 592Ts, Banks Beer, Guinness, and XM Rums. Drink responsibly for the official Linden Town Week Big People Party. Big Man Tour Skylark.
Holiday spending put a dent in your cash. Top up your pockets in the Cash Splash promotion. Win over $5 million, including over $1 million in our weekly draws. Just purchase any Buster, Turbo, Fruita, Cool Kids, or Viva. Look for the 8-digit code starting with 786. Then visit Facebook or IG at Buster Guyana or Turbo_Caribbean for more details.
Welcome back. We return to that Stabroek Market Wharf collapse. President Finale believes strategic decisions on key assets in the capital city of Georgetown are needed following the collapse of the condemned Stabroek Market Wharf this morning. During a visit to the scene, the president said his administration has been in discussion with a number of city councillors concerning strategic decisions that ought to be made in key assets within Georgetown, including the city's markets. He said cabinet is concerned that key assets in the city are not being maintained and are often left in a state of disrepair, posing serious threat to the lives of citizens.
If we continue to have situations like these where the maintenance of the infrastructure and the protection of the infrastructure is not addressed, then health and safety becomes a major issue. So that I think the time has come for a very serious, mature conversation.
The president also said the municipality of Georgetown is in no position to manage a number of the key infrastructure and investments in the city. According to him, the city mayor Alfred Mentor must be honest about the situation. But opposition leader Aubrey Norton, who also visited the scene of the collapse of the wharf, said the collapse could have been prevented had the government provided the city council with the required resources to maintain facilities.
I think the first thing we need to recognize is that this is a manifestation of the fact that the government starves the municipality of resources. I know when we were in government between 2015 and 2020, we had already declared here unsuitable for people to operate. And we began to put the things in place to ensure that there is a new market and a boardwalk out here. The government scrapped that when they came to power. And as a consequence, people continue to be here. And so in my opinion, this is a logical consequence of the lack of vision of the government, the lack of a plan, and the whole desire to starve the city council of resources, which should be given to them to ensure that they can do their work.
Norton said while immediate action requires the removal of debris from the site, moving forward there is a need for a complete overhaul of the Stabroek market and other markets within the city of Georgetown.
You might have to bring a barge at the river, remove the debris, clear the site, and then in a very structured way begin to deal with not just the collapse of this, but the entire market, which needs complete rebuilding or overhaul, because you might want to save the architecture. So to me, that will demand as well the government change its position on the city council and recognize that this is a national symbol and therefore it should be treated as such rather than some partisan political piece of building that should be caught in the political battles that the government has created for the people of Georgetown.
The mayor of Georgetown, Alfred Mentor, confirmed that the area was earmarked for a boardwalk under the APNU-AFC administration, but that plan was shelved following the change in government. He said in the absence of resources, there is only so much that a municipality can do. The city council, which has an APNU-AFC majority, has been pressing the PP civic government for increased resources. The government has been bypassing the council on a number of related issues and dealing directly with its minority councillors rather than the full council. One day after Tourism Minister Onish Waldron told the third session of the UN Permanent Council on People of African Descent, currently underway in Switzerland, that the Guyana government has been investing heavily in Afro-Guyanese and their communities, Attorney-at-Law Nigel Hughes, who represents the local International Decade for People of African Descent Assembly Guyana, told the forum that in Guyana today, Afro-Guyanese are facing discrimination and marginalization. Delivering his statement today at the forum on behalf of Epatagy, Mr. Hughes noted that Afro-Guyanese are subjected to systematic discrimination. He said Afro-Guyanese are the daily victims of a number of atrocities in the country. He said the 2001 Durban Declaration and the UN Declaration of 2013, which both call for the inclusion of history of African descendants to be included in the school curriculum, among other calls, have all fell on deaf ears.
Unfortunately, the United Nations call has not been heeded by the government of Guyana. This has resulted in the perpetuation of an identity crisis, non-recognition, injustices, and underdevelopment of the people of African descent writ large. This adds up to systemic discrimination. In Guyana, even the courtesy of a meeting with the government to advocate for a plan of action for the decade and the introduction of history of the people of African descent into the school curricula in particular has been denied.
Hughes told the forum that the government of Guyana is seeking to decimate Epatagy by defunding the organization without merit or justification. Additionally, he told the forum that the contribution of the people of African descent in Guyana is either not recognized or is the subject to degraded revisionism.
We draw attention to this body to the concluding observations of the recent Human Rights Committee hearing on Guyana under the ICCPR in 2024, and I quote, "The committee remains concerned about the absence of comprehensive anti-discrimination legislation that may extend beyond discrimination in employment, provide full and effective protection against all forms of discrimination prohibited under the covenant, including direct, indirect, and multiple discrimination."
Hughes said while some may appear to paint a picture that there is equality in Guyana, a large number of African Guyanese are systematically excluded and discriminated against. News source understands that the Guyana government delegation at the forum in Geneva wanted to reply to Mr. Yu's statement, but that request was denied by the UN body.
Hi, my name is Keisha Davis, first of 4 siblings. I'm a mom of 3 and I'm an auditor.
My brother Tariq is a transgender man, which means he was born female but now lives as a man. He's always known himself to be.
He's great at math. I'm horrible. And he actually helps my 12-year-old daughter with her math. As soon as he gets home at night, he'll say, Jazz, let's go. What would you like me to help you with? She actually got a prize in school for full score at math and English. Tariq is my rock. Like, honestly, my confidant. No matter what it is, no matter how horrible it might look through others' eyes, he doesn't judge. And he is there to support me, to support my kids. I don't know if I would do without him.
Linden, it's time for the official Linden Town Week Big People Party. This year, Big Man to a Skylark. Join Go Mosley Entertainment on Thursday the 2nd of May at the Mackenzie Bandstand for 5 big bands: Stitchy, Super Ray, Murphy, the Castro Brothers, and for the first time in Linden, the one-woman band Queen Makiba.
Oh, when I see what I was getting, boy, I start to shiver, cause I know I'm unable with that. Get me, young boy.
Plus DJ Granny Ivy will be live. Party like never before. It's a one-man band and one-woman band fest for Linden Town Week. Thursday the 2nd of May at the Mackenzie Bandstand. Big Man to a Skylark. Compliments of GTT, Sheriff Security, 592Ts, Banks Beer, Guinness, and XM Rums. Drink responsibly for the official Linden Town Week Big People Party. Big Man to a Skylark.
Mobil 1 is more than oil. It's many oils. It transforms at the molecular level. When cold, it's thicker than honey. When hot, it's thinner than water. Mobil 1 adapts and readapts to last longer. 16,000 kilometers between oil changes. That's your engine evolved.
Sol Guyana is the authorized distributor of Mobil lubricants.
Well, the Guyana Police Force and the Guyana Defense Force have launched a joint operation aimed at fighting crime and tackling the reckless use of the country's roadways. The new operation has employed the use of drones, being manned by the Guyana Defense Force, to keep surveillance over a number of areas, especially across Georgetown. The operation, titled Eyes in the Sky, is expected to last for 1 month, and according to the police, it will involve the use of low-flying drones, so citizens should not be alarmed when they see those drones. The police force said the operation will also see an increase in police presence across the city, with additional roadblocks, stop and search operations, traffic enforcement, roving patrols, and raids. Additionally, there will be motorcycle and bicycle campaigns, roadblock operations, and cordon searches, and the execution of warrants. Members of the public are being asked by the police force to give their full support and cooperation to the joint services, especially during the Eyes in the Sky operation. While the Public Procurement Commission has found that there were several breaches in the issuance of an $870 million pump station contract to the Tipui Company, which is a recently established company that is managed by social media talk show host Michael Rodriguez, also known as the Guyanese Critic. However, the Public Procurement Commission has noted it is unable to revoke the multi-million-dollar contract. It was Opposition Member of Parliament David Patterson who lodged a complaint with the Commission requesting an investigation to be done into the issuance of the contract to the company. The almost $1 billion contract issued to Tipui sparked criticism from the parliamentary opposition. The opposition questioned the company's experience in carrying out such a contract, and the red flag was also raised about the award when it was revealed that the company was not even the lowest or second lowest bidder. In a 35-page long response to Mr. Patterson, the Public Procurement Commission detailed several irregularities found in the issuance of the contract by the National Tender Board, but admitted there is not much it could do since the contract had already been signed and activated. It said further on the entry into a contract, privity of contract issues arise. The Procurement Commission found that the breaches in the award of the contract could have been avoided and explained that when Tipui entered its bid for the contract, it stated it had completed similar works before. However, it was revealed that none of those works were completed and are all still ongoing. The Commission found that the company's experience could not be based on works which were not fully completed, since the criteria required completion of similar projects. The Public Procurement Commission said the evaluation committee, which was comprised of 2 civil engineers, appears to have exercised a professional judgment that the work involved in the project submitted by the bidder were of sufficient complexity and similarity to be considered. An evaluation, particularly of that criterion, would involve an exercise of judgment or opinion, and as with judgments and opinions, there would be mixed views. According to the Public Procurement Commission, whether the evaluation committee has a discretion in determining what is a project or a similar nature is dependent on the terms of the evaluation criteria. The committee stated that while there may be precedent for the exercise of such professional judgment and/or discretion, an evaluation committee should not assume such discretion onto itself, but ensure it is acting within the terms of the evaluation criteria for the specific tender being evaluated. The committee also found that instead of a line of credit from a commercial bank or recognized institution, the Tipui Company instead submitted a line of credit from the Puran Brothers Waste Disposal Company. The company also submitted a letter of credit from CARICOM General Insurance instead of a financial institution, in keeping with the requirements. The Public Procurement Commission stressed that Puran Brothers Disposal and CARICOM General Insurance Company are not financial institutions. The Tipui Company also submitted a bid bond from the Assuria Insurance Company and not from a financial institution as is required by law. The Public Procurement Commission again noted that the insurance company is not a financial institution. On the issue of the company being awarded a contract when it was the 3rd lowest bidder, the Procurement Commission revealed it was informed by the National Tender Board that the lowest bidder had already been granted a contract for another similar project. The investigation by the Public Procurement Commission also found that the Tipui Company did not submit any financial statements and also did not provide evidence of ownership of all of the equipment to offset the multi-million-dollar contract. Still, with all of those breaches in the award of the contract, the Procurement Commission indicated it could not revoke the contract at this stage. Last evening, the minister responsible for finance, Dr. Ashni Singh, broke into regular programming on the state-owned National Communications Network and said the government has noted the release of the investigation and will take the recommendations on board. The minister responsible for finance said the recommendations are useful for considerations going forward. Police in Suriname are probing the execution-style murder of two Guyanese men who were both suspected of being linked to murder cases in Guyana. The two dead men have been identified as Jeremiah Smith and Oswick Basilio. According to reports, the two were gunned down on a street in Paramabo, Suriname. The two had reportedly been hiding out in the neighboring country. Basilio was suspected of being involved in the murder of Joseph Wilkinson, called Dreddy, while Smith was linked to the recent murder of Clinton Chase. Both Wilkinson and Clinton Chase lost their lives in separate execution incidents. Joseph Wilkinson was killed back in February, while 70-year-old Clinton Chase was shot dead in front of his penitent's home just last week. Crime Chief Wendell Blanham confirmed that the Surinamese police force informed the Guyana police force of the double murder in Paramabo. He said investigations are ongoing both in Paramabo and the Crosshair in Georgetown.
Look at the breathtaking beauty of the Essequibo. From its pristine rivers to its abundant resources, it's a treasure that belongs to Guyana, and we ask Venezuela to respect the rule of international law.
Our commitment to this land is not just about ownership. It's about preserving its beauty and resources for our people and future generations.
The controversy between Guyana and Venezuela was settled internationally as full, perfect, and final in 1899. Essequibo belongs to Guyana.
Guyana's economy is rapidly transforming, and we're all part of it. Guyoil is at the forefront of this development by providing reliable and efficient energy and supporting community development from the very core. 100% of Guyoil's profit goes back to building schools, roads, and other important infrastructure that connects our cities and towns, providing fuel to domestic, marine, industrial, and aerial transportation. Guyoil has now repositioned itself as a market leader in the petroleum industry, building a better future for all of us.
It's one of your biggest goals, getting your own home, where memories are made, where happiness lives. You may feel that home ownership or renovation is beyond your reach, but we at Republic want you to know that there's always a way. Ask us about our suite of mortgages. Let's help make your housing wishes come true. Or advise on how the equity in your existing home can finance other dreams and goals. Call or go online to learn more.
Holiday spending put a dent in your cash. Top up your pockets in the Cash Splash promotion. Win over $5 million, including over $1 million in our weekly draws. Just purchase any Buster, Turbo, Fruita, Cool Kids, or Viva. Look for the 8-digit code starting with 786. Then visit Facebook or IG at Buster Guyana or Turbo_Caribbean for more details.
With your regional and international news tonight, I am Svetlana Marshall in the region. The Biden administration has signaled that it could reimpose oil sanctions in Venezuela on Thursday in response to what U.S. officials see as President Nicolas Maduro's failure to meet his commitments for free and fair elections this year. Reuters in a report said barring any last-minute concessions by Maduro, the U.S. has made clear it is not likely to renew a 6-month license that granted the OPEC member partial sanctions relief from October, following an election deal reached between the government and the Venezuelan opposition. It expires just after midnight. Washington had repeatedly threatened in recent months to reinstate punitive measures on Venezuela's vital oil and gas sector, unless Maduro made good on his promises, including allowing the opposition to run the candidate of its choice against him in the July 28 election. Maduro's government has complied with some of the terms of the deal signed in Barbados. The withdrawal of the most significant element of U.S. sanctions relief would mark a major step back from U.S. President Joe Biden's policy of re-engagement with the Maduro government. St. Kitts and Nevis Prime Minister Dr. Terence Drew says he has been able to secure funding from a prominent United Arab Emirates-based investment firm to initiate the groundbreaking geothermal energy project in the Federation. Drew said the partnership with the Kincaid Group marks a significant step toward his Caribbean Community CARICOM's commitment to renewable energy security as it furthers its agenda to a sustainable island state. He said the project is aligned with the government's vision for a sustainable future, which includes diversifying energy resources and reducing dependence on fossil fuels. Prime Minister Drew said the government is looking forward to a fruitful collaboration and is excited about the transformative impact the project will have on the nation's energy landscape. And finally tonight, international news. Israel will make its own decisions about how to defend itself, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said on Wednesday, as Western countries pleaded for restraint in responding to a volley of attacks from Iran. The United States, the European Union, and the G7 group of industrialized nations all announced plans to consider tighter sanctions on Iran, aimed at mollifying Israel and persuading it to rein in its retaliation for the first ever direct Iranian strikes after decades of confrontation by proxy. Iran attacked in retaliation for a suspected Israeli airstrike on its embassy compound in Damascus on April 1. Israel and its allies mostly shut down all missiles and drones, and there were no deaths. But Israel says it must retaliate to preserve the credibility of its deterrence. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Svetlana Marshall reporting and encouraging you to stay safe.